In ricordo della visita di Sua Altezza Serenissima il Principe Alberto II di Monaco alla nostra università, il Rettore dona un libro sull'acqua e una medaglia celebrativa del decennale. E ora è con grande piacere che diamo la parola a Lucien Chabason, professore di politica ambientale all'Istituto di Scienze Politiche di Parigi e coordinatore del programma Ambiente delle Nazioni Unite Piano d'Azione Mediterraneo. Il professor Chabason parlerà della protezione dell'ambiente nel Mediterraneo e delle sue questioni aperte. Please.
Thank you, Monseigneur, Your Excellency Rittore Fontanasi, dear colleagues, professors and students at the Milano Bicocca University. It is an honor for me to be invited to this important conference and to take the floor in this prestigious university. I would like to thank the Foundation Prince Albert II of Monaco and the university for organizing this event. So I have been suggested to introduce the following topic, open questions as regards the protection of the environment in the Mediterranean Sea. So I will address issues related to the status of the ecological status, also the legal issues and political issues related to the protection of the Mediterranean Sea, please. So the main topic I will address, and I will try to demonstrate, is that while we have not solved all the classical issues related to the marine environment, in the Mediterranean Sea, we are now facing emerging issues which were mentioned by the rector just before me, and such as the effects of climate change and ecological changes in the Mediterranean. So we are facing now two main categories of issues, traditional issues of, for instance, of pollution, while addressing and trying to understand what is now ongoing in the Mediterranean Sea under the influence of global change. And as a consequence, the governance of the Mediterranean Sea should be reshuffled and modernized with a view of properly addressing the new challenges in an integrated approach. Okay. So first, we should keep in mind that pressures, human pressure, anthropogenic pressures, are still ongoing in the Mediterranean. First, the population. Even if the rate of birth is decreasing, and especially on the southern rim of the Mediterranean, with a number of children by women which is which decreased very quickly, especially during the last 20 years in such countries like Tunisia, Algeria, but still with now two to three children by family, still the population will increase by 2025 to 500 million inhabitants around in the Mediterranean countries. So we will move from to 285 million inhabitants 40 years ago to 500 million during the next 10 years, which means a high level of pressure on the Mediterranean. And now, in this scheme, you can see the difference of urban pressure and the rise, increase of the size of the cities from 1950 to 1995, with now very huge cities, more than 10 million inhabitants, such as Cairo, Istanbul, and also a lot of big cities all around the Mediterranean. This is especially impressive in North Africa, as you can see, and in Turkey. In addition to the population and the rate of urbanization, we are now facing a special phenomena in the Mediterranean, which we call the littoralization, which we can see everywhere in the world, and which means the concentration of population of activities on the coastline. It is said now that more than 50% of the world population is based on the coastal areas. And this is especially impressive in the Mediterranean, as you can see, in Spain, in France, in Italy, and especially in Italy, as you can see on the Adriatic coast, and now in Tunisia, and it is also impressive in Palestine and Israel. Next, please. Another driving force for the shift in the environment is the importance of tourism. As you know, in the Mediterranean, this is the first the first region in the world for international tourism, with 30% of the world international tourism on top of domestic tourism. Because we only speak of international tourism, but we have domestic tourism now in Turkey, with Turkish tourism, domestic tourism in Tunisia, everywhere. So, in fact, we have much more than 275 million international visitors. And you can see here the trend of recept from international tourism, which means that from 1970 to 2007, it's a continuous increase, which means that on one hand, it is a major source of income and prosperity in the Mediterranean. On the other hand, it means more hotels, more urbanization, more marinas, more harbors, more cruise, more artificial beaches, more consumption of water. Tourism means 700 liters of fresh water each day in summer, which is important. Please. Also, the industry is still there and is developing, and we have a type of industry which is highly polluting in the Mediterranean. Heavy industry with cementeries, power plants, manufacture of metals, also fertilizers. And this is especially important, for instance, in North Africa, in Algeria, for instance, and in Turkey. So industry is there, and at the same locations than tourism. It is especially impressive in Sicilia, for instance. You can find tourism and industry, and the same in Tunisia, or the same in a lot of countries. So we have to cope with these different factors, please. Also, we should keep in mind the importance of transportation. This shows the importance of containers traffic, which doubled during the last 15 years, especially in the context of the globalization. More and more ships are coming from Asia and are bringing goods to the Mediterranean ports. Such a harbor like Piraeus has become one of the major gates for entering in Europe goods, merchandise from Southeast Asia. And which means that the Mediterranean harbors are growing, are getting bigger and bigger, and needs more and more room and space And this should be added to the need for infrastructure for air transportation, for roads, highways. There are now new highways in all around the Mediterranean. So these are the driving force, the main driving force. I'm not speaking because lack of time of agriculture, for instance, and in its pressure on the natural environment. So the classical feature, classical aspect of the pollution and the destruction of the marine environment remain very heavy, please. The pollution from ships. But there are some improvements. I want to draw your attention to the fact that in spite of this high-level pressure, there are some improvements in the fight against pollution. Look at, for instance, the pollution. This is the pollution from ships, but the accident. This is a picture which shows the reduction of accidents releasing more than 700 tons of petrol in the sea. As you can see, the level was very high 25 years ago and is now very low, which means that the safety of navigation is better, is getting better in the Mediterranean as everywhere, under the excellent action of the International Maritime Organization. But oil spills, voluntary oil spills, remain a huge issue. This picture was produced under the Joint Research Center, which is located in Ispra, north Milano, based on remote sensing. Here you can see the importance of detected oil spills through remote sensing. So don't be surprised when finding petrol on your beaches, because ships are still releasing voluntary oil and other substances in the sea, please. And as you can see, these oil spills follow exactly the routes of navigation. And it is of special importance on the Italian western coast and also in the south of Sicilia. Next, please. Now, the pollution from cities. There was an important declaration made by the contracting parties to the Barcelona Convention, which Italy and Monaco are contracting parties. In 1985, it was decided that all cities of more than 10,000 inhabitants would be equipped of wastewater treatment plants. So these are the achievements now in 2010. So as you can see, coastal cities on the right, coastal cities with population of more than 100,000, 83 are equipped with such wastewater treatment plant. 20 are still lacking. But when it comes to smaller cities, 10,000 to 100,000, a quarter of those cities are not equipped. So it means that a huge effort has still to be accomplished to cope with urban pollution, domestic pollution. And also we can see from these maps that heavy metals are still a matter of concern in the Mediterranean, cadmium, mercury, lead, which can be found in mussels or sediments, and especially on the European coasts. And this is often related to the input of big rivers. We should not forget the importance of pollution coming from the big rivers, especially the Rhone, the Ebro, the Po, Axios, the Nile, of course. Even the small rivers coming from the Balkans to the Aegean Sea, such as the Nestos, for instance, which are polluted by heavy industry which are located in Bulgaria or in Macedonia. So the Mediterranean Sea is not only polluted by its riparian countries, but also by countries which are located all over in Europe, Asia, or Africa. But we should not be too much concerned by the level of these trace metals in the sea, because generally speaking, it copes with the European and WHO standards. Next, please. So eutrophication is also a matter of concern, and especially here, not here in Milano, but in the Adriatic, and in closed sea, and in relation with the inputs of with modern agriculture, with fertilizers, also with certain industries. So here you can find hotspots, which especially in the northern part of Adriatic, which is one at the border of Slovenia and between Venice and Slovenia, which is a place where waters are shallow water and a lot of cities are located, industry, so also modern agriculture. And the same around the Rhone in France and around the Axios in the North Aegean, and of course at the mouth of the Nile. Next, please. And of course, the erosion of biodiversity is a major issue. This is a document which was produced by IUCN, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, which shows that a lot of species are still in danger in the Mediterranean, the cetaceans, amphibians. Amphibians are really a matter of concern because they are disappearing. Snakes are disappearing. Also the cartilaginous fishes, such as sharks, reptiles, mammals, birds. So in spite of huge efforts which were accomplished by the Mediterranean countries, such as the establishment of marine protected areas all over the region, there are still a matter of concern for the survival of a lot of species. It is not enough to protect, for instance, the les herbiers de Posidonie, the Posidonia. It is not enough to put it on the list of protected species. It is also important to take action to avoid to destroy such important habitat. And this is still a pending issue. So far, the network of marine protected areas in the region cover more or less 200 units, which means more than 1% of the Mediterranean Sea. So it was decided in Nagoya, the CDB, to protect 10% of the marine environment all over the world by 2020. So we have a huge agenda in front of us. Please, next. Our fisheries, of course, we cannot forget fisheries. So fisheries in the Mediterranean represent 1% of the total catches at the global level. At the global level, the total catches represent 80 million tons. So the main matter of concern is the destruction, the overexploitation, of some famous species, which are well known in the Mediterranean, such as the, of course, the bluefin tuna, but also some most of the commercial fishes are overexploitation based on FAO reviews and assessment. And now we have a special matter of concern about bottom bottom fishing, okay. And this is also a big issue. Next, please. Now, on top of these traditional issues, we are now facing emerging, what we can call emerging issues, please. Effects of marine aquaculture in the Mediterranean, especially in Italy, Greece, which are producing a lot of pollution. Next. Offshore oil drilling activities, which are often ignored because everybody heard about the North Sea drilling. But now there are 160 oil rigs in the Mediterranean, located as shown here. And as you know, the technology allowed to go deeper and deeper. There are now projects to drill 2,000 meters under the level of the sea. There are huge projects between Cyprus, Lebanon, and Israel. So it's a very important development which is ongoing with oil drilling activities in the Mediterranean. It is of major importance now for countries such as France, Italy, Greece, Monaco, Spain to ratify the offshore protocol of to the Barcelona Convention, which would allow to control and to put transparency on the implementation of the Barcelona Convention to this important and developing activity. Next, please. The introduction of non-indigenous species due both to the climatic change, but also to the what scientists call the Lessepians migration through the Canal of Suez. As you can see, the east of the Mediterranean is a major target place for the development of such non-indigenous species through the ballast water release, and other factors. Please, next. Desalinization. Next, please. And now I come to the climate change, which was addressed before at the beginning of this conference. As you can see here, you can see a figure of the rising of temperature during the last 30 years, and as you can see, the Mediterranean is very concerned by the rise with an increase of more than 1 degree. Please. And when you look at the IPCC scenario, you can see that on the top, an evolution of temperature, which would bring the temperature in the Mediterranean, on the Mediterranean region, around +4 or +5%, depending the scenario by the end of the year. And above are the precipitation, which will be reduced by 20 to 30%, depending the place, in the south, especially in the south of the Mediterranean. So our region will certainly suffer from what is now going with climate change, please. And especially the deltas. This is an image. You know that through the new satellites, which were satellites, such as JASON, we have a better understanding of the level, the increasing of the level of the sea. It's, during the last 20 years, it was an average of 3.3 millimeters per year. So the IPCC, the most pessimistic scenario for CCC was an increase of the level of the sea by half a meter by the end of the year, of the century. But it is now accepted and recognized that this scenario will be replaced by another one, which will bring the level of the sea to probably 80 centimeters to 1 meter by the end of the year, of the century, sorry. So, and this is a certainty. There is no discussion about that because it is a fact now. It is like we have seen what we have seen in the mountain before. So, what will be the consequences in the next on our delta, in the Ebre, the Po, and especially the Nile, because in the Nile delta there are 6 million inhabitants. So it will be a major hotspot of the effects of the climate change. Please, next. So we will face economic consequence of this climate change, especially on tourism. This is a map which was established through a European project and which show what will. Time is over. Okay, but I'm not very far. I have 3 slides. So consequence on tourism. Next. On fresh water, there will be a lack of fresh water. So no, there is need now for additional research on some issues such as acidification, as said before me, especially the consequence of on species or on migration. And there is an important an ongoing project, which is the Mediterranean Sea acidification in a changing climate, which was recently launched. And finally, we should move towards facing these new challenges, which add to traditional challenge. We should move towards a better governance in the Mediterranean Sea, bringing regional bodies to work together through an ecosystem approach, especially biodiversity and fisheries, bridging the implementation gap of the Barcelona Convention and protocols. Protocols should be better implemented, and especially through the strengthening of national capacity. And of course, countries should increase the level of their investment. As a conclusion, I would say, 20 seconds. The economical and financial crisis in Southern Europe, as well, which is a fact, and especially in Italy, in Spain and Greece, and the difficulties in France and Italy, as well as the uncertainties following the Arab Revolution, should not be arguments to putting brake on policies aiming at protecting the Mediterranean Sea, which is our future, which is our heritage. In addition, part of the explanation of this crisis, and especially in Greece and Spain, lies with patterns of unsustainable development in those countries, which means that a new philosophy of what means sustainable development in the Mediterranean could lead to a renovated vision and a renovated economic approach. Renovated vision of the Mediterranean development and renovated governance must be the basis for a better future for our Mediterranean and its people. Thank you.